All right, I'm here with Joel Varner, and we're in Albany, Oregon. Joel, how long have you been in youth ministry?
Uh, 12 years.
12 years. And you've been at a couple of different churches pretty much on the West Coast, right?
Yep. Camp ministry, pastor in California, pastor in Washington, and now in Oregon.
Awesome. You've got it covered.
Yeah.
From coast to coast.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. You were telling me earlier about your leadership style in your youth ministry. And it's kind of unusual. And tell me a little bit about the plurality that you try to bring out.
Really just base our youth ministry on a shared leadership, plurality of leadership, where the idea is that we want to make sure that the youth ministry is not based on any one person.
Yep.
So that way when that person leaves, it has to leave the ministry or passes away or God calls them home or they fall and stumble into temptation. We see a lot of times that ministry collapses when that one person is removed. So we try to build our youth ministry in a plurality of leadership where we have shared leadership so that way when or if that person leaves, the leaders are already the pastors of that youth ministry and they can kind of say, you know what, we miss this person, but we're still going to move on with the call that God's given to us.
So let's get practical with that. Like, what does that actually mean that they do, and what does that mean that you do?
So with shared leadership, essentially I would have a team of leaders that I would call the youth pastors or elders. They're the elders of the youth ministry, where they're co-equal with me in the decision making and policies and directions we want to go in the youth ministry.
Yep.
A team of right now we have a man and woman who lead our high school ministry and a college female and male that run the middle school ministry. And when we make decisions, we make them together, we make them unanimously.
Yep.
We ask in prayer what God would want us to do. They know the vision as much as I know the vision. And when the students see the youth ministry and they ask, who is my youth pastor, they'll look to those people, those men and women as their youth pastor, not just me as well. So most students don't even know that I'm the head youth leader. Most students would see them as their primary shepherd and caregiver and pastor.
So each of those leaders has people underneath them, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was really cool.
Yeah. So our youth pastor coaches, elders, whatever you'd want to call them, they lead teams of other youth leaders as well, and they're mentors, they're small group leaders, they're program directors, those kinds of things. So really we give the care and the shepherding to the leaders so the leaders can shepherd and care the students.
Okay. What are you guys dreaming about for the next 12 to 18 months in your ministry as well? We saw tonight was pretty fantastic. You know, house groups with small groups that kind of broke up and talked and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then what are you dreaming about for the next year or the next phase of your ministry?
So even just tonight we're talking with our leadership as far as looking at what would it look like if our small groups saw themselves less as a small group and less as maybe kind of a Christian clique and more as a mission team.
Okay.
Like what would it look like as if they were saying, you know what, we're just not going to be about ourselves, we'll be about the world. And we all know what it looks like to be a mission team. If you're going to go to Uganda or Mexico, we understand the principles of what a mission team does and how they prepare and what they do to get ready and be ministers to that society. But for some reason, we kind of lose that when we come home. And so what we want to do is say to students, what would it look like if your small group themselves saw each other as a mission team? That your small group leader is a mission team leader, you guys are the mission team members, and you're looking at how can we grow in God, how are we going to love each other, and how are we going to serve the people on mission that we are closest to in our schools, our family, and our community. So that's really what we want to say, is because if students are growing in mission, we know that students grow best when they're on a mission trip. That's where they grow closest to God because they're scared out of their mind. They grow close together because they're working together in tight-knit groups and together, and they're serving others in need of the love of Christ. And we want to say, well, let's not do that just once a year. Let's do that every single week, every single day, on purpose.
Cool. So that's what you guys are dreaming about and praying about and hoping God opens that up.
Yeah.
Tell us about this. We heard a term today in youth ministry we'd never heard, a mud pit. What is a mud pit?
A mud pit.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, SoCal people, we don't have that.
You don't have mud pits.
No, we don't have rain, so we don't know what that is.
So what we do is we get a tractor. I don't know if you know what a tractor is. We get the tractor and we get the rototiller out, and we get some farmers out here. They dig us a big volleyball court-sized pit, and they till it up, and then we get some fire hoses out, and we flood the pit. So there's about thigh deep mud in there. We get all the way up to our sometimes even our knees, and then we put dodgeballs in there, or volleyball net, or we do tug of war or something like that. Any way that we can absolutely get them thrashed with mud. Students love it. It's good for their skin and makes them feel really good. I have found mud in the weirdest places on my own body from this pit. But it's kids love it. They have a great time with it, and
any advice you want to give to somebody who might be thinking about rototilling their back? You know, is there like a trick to the mud pit that people need to know?
Make sure it's not next to the septic system, which ours is about a couple feet away from the septic system. So I'm hoping most of the brown stuff is mud, but I'm not going to guarantee it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's very important. And you're married, right?
Yes, I'm married.
And you got a couple of lovely kids.
Yep, a 5-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old daughter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, thanks so much for hanging with us today, and appreciate it. It was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. And thanks for sharing your story with different youth workers.
Yeah, thank you guys.